Hello, everyone, and welcome to our episode 2. Today is January 19th, 2020. And a quick shout out, first of all, to Jess and Zack for their cyber t shirt I got on their site. I'll show that to everybody in a little bit when we get there. But I wanted to chat a little bit today, give an update. First, I wanted to kind of just give an overview. Last time we had our very first episode, that was about 3 weeks ago. And as I mentioned, I want to try to do one about every week. But as I also mentioned, I do have a full-time job, and that obviously takes priority. And I've got a lot of launches coming up and pretty busy there lately. So I've actually been working quite a bit on the weekends and just haven't had time. So obviously with that, I've been able to collect a lot more information lately and try to sum up about 3 weeks worth as quickly as possible. So first I wanted to remind again what my interests are with this channel as disruptive tech or technologies innovation. I wanted to remind that what I major focus on are all things Tesla and pretty much a lot of the things Elon Musk are doing, but mostly Tesla around obviously the battery technologies, the autonomous driving, the solar capabilities, all the moats they have, and just everything that they are disrupting with. And we'll talk about that on this page that we have in a few seconds. Secondly, of course, is artificial intelligence and all things that has to offer. And the third is blockchain. So as I mentioned the last time, there's so many things we could get into with these three areas along the lines of, again, healthcare and all these other things. But again, these are the areas that I am strongly interested in. And these are the areas that I think, to me anyway, will be the most disruptive or have opportunities for most disruptive. Again, there's going to be lots in medical and so many other areas, but these are where I'm interested. And I think that these three areas sort of almost, can in a way grow together or sort of accentuate each other in a lot of the areas. So first we'll start, last few weeks, obviously there was a lot of, at the end of 2019, a lot of predictions for 2020, and right after the new year, there was a lot of summaries of what happened in 2019. But there's still quite a bit of futuristic or future trends analysis of what's going on that's been happening the last few weeks. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And of course, a lot of predictions on stock prices and Bitcoin prices and all the cryptocurrency changes there and where Tesla's going, and just a lot of agenda for what's going on with AI as well. So definitely the last few weeks, I'm deciding to try to print things out because I have another big screen over here to the left, but I can't quite see everything. So in the last few weeks, there's been a lot around, there's major macroeconomic things going on. There was something with a general in Iran and some negotiations afterwards there. A lot of negotiations around what's happening with China and some, seemingly pretty good news there. I saw a lot also with a lot of doom and gloom with doomsdayers on the financial side. And a lot of that seems to have been squashed with a lot of the macroeconomics as well. And of course, all of this relates to these three core areas that we're talking about today. There's been a lot of talk on Tesla around all the China numbers and the Model Y and Elon dancing. A lot of different things there. Also, what's happening with full FSD with the soon tweet, which we'll talk about. And even a lot of talk about Elon's payday with the massive increase in the stock. Crypto has been, like I said, a lot of huge speculation with what's going on with this year being a great year. We have the halving with Bitcoin and just a lot of other things going on. A lot going on with Ripple and XRP and just quite a bit there. So first, let's kind of get a little bit into the disruptive innovation, what that means. And even actually, I've even had it wrong because to me, things that are disrupting are things like definitely Tesla all the way. A lot with this article talks about Uber. So really, Clayton Christensen is seen as sort of he invented the disruptive innovation theory. He's a Harvard Business School professor. And this article talks about what basically he says is there's a lot of confusion out there, and I'm definitely one of them. And he's basically saying that the smaller companies are disrupting larger companies. So he even talks about, for example, with Uber, that Uber really isn't a disruptor. Obviously they're taking over the taxi industry, but they're not seen as it's not seen in that same category, and they talk about with this chart. So obviously, as I've mentioned the last time, I'll always put the links. Every one of these links I will put in this recording. I might not get to do that tonight, so I might post this tonight. And again, I'm all about just doing a live video, so if I mess up or whatever, I'm going to post it anyway. But maybe tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night, I'll add all the links to this. But they even talk about Uber and even Tesla. And they really say that, with Tesla, it's another Silicon Valley, and that's what they talk about mostly is a lot of Silicon Valley as disruptor. But he's saying that, they're at the top end of the market because they started with high-end luxury vehicles. Of course, they started with the first Roadster, which was, I think 150,000 or more. Then they did the Model S, was obviously very expensive, and even when they launched them, they launched the expensive models first, from what I understand. Similarly with the Model X, and then they finally came in with the Model 3. So he's kind of seemingly saying they're not really a disruptor, he's the one who invented this all, so I guess I'll go with it, but I'm sure I'll mess up now and then. I still talk about a lot of this incorrectly, but again, he's trying to say it's the smaller disrupting the larger. And actually, if you want more, there's a nice little video about this as well. And that was a little bit older. That was from 2016, that video here. And this one, I couldn't really see a date, but I'll get this on there as well. All right, so I think going forward, most of the time anyway, I'll pretty much often always talk about ARK-Invest. I really think Kathy and her team really have, really hit, they've kind of, in my view, disrupted the analyst industry, because the analyst industry is still doing their traditional, all about them and all about listen to me and what I say. And there used to be commercials about that if one investor talked, everybody else listened. And you've got all the media, and they're all on a lot of the media channels and talking about listen to me, what I say, and invest in what I say. But I feel ARK has really disrupted that, because I feel that they are focused on disruption, and they are focused on 5-year trends and what, all these moats and what's really, going to be hit in the future, not just the near term, like most investors say. And they're not afraid. Kathy's been awesome. She'll talk about a Tesla at $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per share. And then you get these foolish traditional analysts or some of these reporters, at times try to ridicule and everything. And I'm amazed at her composure, because I've wanted to just reach through the computer or the TV and choke some of these. Again, I said the last time, I've looked up to a lot of these analysts, especially on CNBC. And now, over the last year or so, I just find them very frustrating. But she's very amazing. She still sticks to her guns, talks what she believes in, doesn't let anybody railroad her. And I truly believe in a lot of things she's talking about. So I wanted to bring up their main page here, because they've got a great Big Ideas 2020. And of course, a lot of other information. They've got podcasts and all these other things, a lot of material here. But on that Big 2020, not only do they have a lot of massive information on that you can download, they talk about all their key areas. What's going on here? Not sure what happened. Oh, must have backspace somehow. But so really, this third slide really talks about their core areas that they're focused on. We talked about this the last time, and they kind of summarize these now, I think, in about 5 different groups, I think, along their EFTs, if you will. But, this whole slideshow really talks about, PowerPoint talks about all their key areas. I highly recommend you get this, you download it, and go through it, as well as watch their, similarly adjoining video. And also, if you go to their main page, you can go to some of their different podcasts and webinars, grab their webinars. They do quarterlies for all different ones along these different areas. I just watched my first one. Oh, and yeah, you can register, of course, for a lot. And the one I just watched was just about a week ago, I think the 15th, if you will. And here's the next one coming up on April 16th. And that was just, a lot of, great in-depth information. They had all their analysts, her team, Kathy and her team. So she, along with this core team of analysts here, was on there. And Tosh, all of them, they're just amazing. And so I highly recommend you watch those each quarter, sign up for those, and grab those. All right, so let's get a little bit into Larry Fink. So this is something on CNBC. This is very recently, as you can see. He talked about how BlackRock is, as I believe you should know, that they're big. I think they're one of the largest, if not by far the largest investment broker, if you will, investment firm. And he's saying they're all about sustainability now, and they're really going to push and drive that. And I think if they drive it, then a lot of the other industries will follow, if not all industries. So definitely, Zack and Jesse, I know you'd be all over this. So this is a great bit of information. I'd love to see you guys do an in-depth story on this. So next, again, another one of my favorites, Jack Rickard. I talked to you guys the last time that you invent something on EV, and he'll tell you how it works, what it does, where to best apply it, and so forth. The guy's just brilliant. So he did a video on. It was sort of a attention grabber, with his title, but it was all about how he was shorting Tesla. And it really grabbed my attention. Now, again, I'll watch a lot of these. Most of them are pretty long, hour, 2 hours long, and so forth. And so he did a great video on why he was shorting. And he did, in addition to a lot of information on that video, but he really get into how he does bracketing so he'll buy, first of all, I think he sold about $800,000 worth of Tesla stock. And he took a lot of that money, and I think he had a lot more than that, but he sold about 800,000 and took a lot of that and is playing the calls and puts. So he's bracketing, so he's buying heavy on the calls, but then to cover himself, he's buying some puts as well. And of course, as the stock goes up and down, he's really killing it. And then, so this video explains that even more. So as I've kind of talked about, where Kathy Woods over at ARK-Investment, and I'll even talk about in a minute Galli and some of the others, that they've talked about how a lot of these short sellers out there, and there's one video in particular one of the guys did, and they really articulated the 4 key short sellers. And again, I just wanted to reach through the computer and choke those 4 short sellers. But some of the guys are really talking about how not only are these guys making money on it, which of course stinks, but I want to do a video on, in a way, selfishly, I appreciate these short sellers because they actually helped me get in the market, because if they didn't, then I think Tesla stock would be a lot higher than it is, and I might not have got in it as much as I have. So actually, thank you, short sellers, but don't do it anymore, because we'll talk in a moment about how a lot of you guys are getting called. But again, so Jack does a lot on playing the market up and down, and this video here talks about how he's killing it. It's just amazing. Again, I'm not an analyst. I'm not an investment analyst, so I'm not recommending to you to follow anything I'm doing. I'm just pointing out a lot of this information. So pretty much, learn from these guys, but do your own analysis as well. All right, so next one, here's what I just mentioned with Galli. He's always got a lot of great stories. Here's one of his clips I mentioned to you last time that he's got his hyperchange videos, and he's got a lot of these clips he's been doing a lot lately too, which are just grabbing pieces of his actual longer videos and just talking little segments. So this one here is talking about Maxwell, and I was speculating how with the battery day that Tesla's going to do, which again is another reason why Jack has been doing calls, and I've been buying some calls as well on Tesla with a lot of the good stuff going on in the next coming couple months. So the battery day that's going to talk a lot about what Tesla's doing. So Galli, he was speculating what they're doing in addition to a lot of other videos he's done. So we talked a little bit about, again, with ARK-Investment and Kathy and her team. So as you see here, so Tasha talks mostly about industrial innovation. Now they've labeled it as autonomous driving, and I forgot what the rest of that. But so she's meeting with CNN. She's a lot with Yahoo Finance, and I think she's been on CNBC and quite a bit. So she's really killing it on a lot of these stations with, of course, all things Tesla and the Moats, just like Kathy's doing. And actually, I invite you to look at a lot of these comments that she's just doing. She's doing a lot of amazing work. Next, there's a lot. One of the things we just talked about is a lot going on with some of the new things that Tesla. When Elon Musk was out in Shanghai, when they first announced a lot of the employees got their first Model 3s, and then on the 7th, that's when a lot of the first customers were able to pick up their brand new cars. He also announced, and I caught that too, Galli did, and now of course Alex did, and of course everybody is now. But Tesla announced that he wanted to have China do like a design center out there, and they used this as now Alex photoshopped as red, but I think it was silver, gray, stainless, whatever color. But I think that's an amazing little car. I'd love them to build that. But basically invited China and their design experts to go ahead and design a lot of these cars going forward. So that's very exciting. Looking forward to what that has to offer. Some of the others have done that as well. I know that, let's see, Solving the Money, he did talk about this as well, pretty much all of them, like I mentioned. All right, so let's, we talked earlier about the Moats, and so as you can see, TMIO, he had talked about that too. Of course, obviously that's the market is open. So he did a really good analysis on what Kathy and Tasha and the team have been talking about. Tesla's killing it. I actually have created a list. I think I have a list myself of about 18 or 19 different things, ranging from little things like even how, it's just a huge list. They're just killing it. You can't go wrong with Tesla and what they're doing. I'm so amazed with what Tesla's doing. All right, so also, so Rob over at Tesla Daily, between these podcasts of what he does with these type and also with his screenshots, he's been promoting a lot of information as well out there. Yeah, see, I can't even read some of my things. It's so small. But talking about the China registration, this is a thing that I'm kind of passionate about at the moment. Where there was a petition here, the NHTSA, where they were basically saying something like 110 cars with 52 injuries that they were accelerating unexplained. And so a lot of these guys are talking about it, and I invited a bunch of others to talk about it, where I believe what's going on here is, once they uncover the true reason. But with Tesla and their software upgrade technology, I'm thinking or hopeful that they actually fix this problem through software, over-the-wire software upgrades or patches. And hopefully they'll have this fixed before NHTSA actually really truly investigates this and tries to figure out the problem. So contrast that with traditional ICE cars, where not only, first of all, most of them will deny it, but when they finally have to do something about it, it takes them weeks, if not months, and even maybe some never get the repairs because they do it by snail mail. And then finally, again, then if somebody buys a used car, they might not get that information maybe through Carfax or, do the upgrades. Maybe they're not going to take it to a dealer. So, chances are a lot of cars might not get those safety upgrades from the traditional ICE cars, where Tesla with the EV technology that they have with over the wire, and hopefully a lot of other cars that will follow, I think the Ford Mustang and so forth, that, I'm just, amazed that they can fix that before there's any further issues. In that other video, there was a lot of information here with them breaking 500, and we'll talk a little bit about Jeremy. So here was the thing that I was kind of frustrated where, again, a lot of these analysts, they've been, so negative on Tesla, and now Tesla's really killing it, and all of a sudden they come in and they just say one thing. But I think there were a lot of other issues with the way Tesla, the stock's been killing it, but all of a sudden the last few days it's been down. So full self-driving test. Elon Musk did a text lately where somebody asked him how, when it's going to be coming, and he wrote soon, so that's pretty exciting. So let's see what happens there. All right, let's skip over to the other one. So here's where I was talking about Jeremy. So of course he's got a lot of videos, and maybe sometimes I should just, like I'll show you in a moment with Jeremy. With Jess and Zack, how maybe I should just kind of just show you these videos here because there's so much. Actually Jeremy, he's got so many videos, and what's funny is he has one at 404, and then 438, and 476, and 505, and 530. It's pretty funny, but it's awesome. A lot of the stuff he's talking about, and he's been doing a lot also on Uber and a lot of the other type of investments, but definitely watch a lot of his. He's really just amazing. He's also been talking about, all right, should you stay in? Should you keep, stick with Tesla? And so I won't ruin it, but he's got a lot of really good videos, quite a few. So as we talked about, again, with Zack and Jess, and again, they have this. I also have the matching sweatpants. And so just, definitely go to their channel, watch a lot of these videos, click on them in each one of the videos. You can also, buy these clothing. And they too, just like Galli and some of the others, they also have their clips as well. So a lot of these might be an hour or so long, but they have a lot of clips. This was a really good one the other day about Wi-Fi. And again, these guys are really funny where a lot of their videos, they'll talk about something, do an anecdotal story, and then, just put their face in some other screenshot or whatever, and it's just so funny. They do a great job. But again, they do a lot of really good information about climate change, and of course all things Tesla and a lot of other things. So definitely watch them. All right, and I'm definitely skipping over a lot of my notes. All right, let's get into AI now. So Cold Fusion, I think I might have touched on this in my last video, but if not, so this is a really, really good video. It's about about a month old or so, but he did an outstanding job really articulating. He talks a lot about the history, which was really good. I always enjoy the history part. And they talked about the, let's see if I can remember. No, let's see. Yeah. So he talked about the pioneer of the perceptron in '57 from Frank Rosenblatt. And then they went into with a lot with Jeffrey Hinton and Jan Lukin. Now, so this was also another reason why I missed this update about 2 weeks ago, because I was doing a lot of my, watching a lot of these videos, taking a lot of notes, and I actually lost a lot of notes on this video and a couple others. So I had to kind of start over, and then by that time I had to also do my other weekend work for my regular job. So, but anyway, really good video here. A lot of great information about the history, and there's there's Jeff Hinton there, and some of these other guys. So highly recommend you watch that to get a lot of that in-depth info. And then also, as I've talked about with Lex Friedman, so he too was kind of doing a lot of the summary of the of the history. And then he was talking about this with the award from Alan Turing, where he was talking about actually, so Jeff Hinton, Jan Leeken, and also Yeshua Bengio, I believe, also won this year's Turing Award. So that was pretty awesome. But he also talked a lot about the different programming language around AI, kind of comparison with TensorFlow and PyTorch, and then also talked about how Python 2 just sort of end of life January 1st. And I've actually been trying to program some Python recently for my regular job. I'm trying to do a little bit of work there. I'm in marketing for my technology job, but I'm trying to do some AI program around Python and some of these others. So it's pretty fascinating. But so then he also talked a lot about a lot of different hopes for 2020 he has throughout this video, so I highly recommend that. A lot of these here, he was, so there's some hopes there. I don't want to click on these because while I have a YouTube Premium for my personal, again, that I use on the Mac, but here on this this disruptive channel, I don't have the premium, so I don't want to click on this and then you have to watch some commercials every time. So, but anyway, then he also talked about, he did get into a little bit with a good amount actually with autonomous driving, and he was comparing Waymo and Tesla. He did a lot of really good information there. I highly recommend you watch it. I don't completely, while he's brilliant, I don't completely agree on his assessment between Tesla and Waymo. Yes, I'm biased about Tesla, but where he was talking about was, of course, we all know, and I think he or some others recently that talked about that Tesla, I think he or somebody said about 8 or 10 billion miles, but actually I think Kathy said recently that Tesla has about, I think it's 14 billion miles in real world driving of all of these hundreds of thousands of Tesla drivers. Again, I used to own one, so that would have been me, but I will get another one soon. But so he's comparing Waymo's 10 million to Tesla's 10 billion, but really 14 billion. But then he also said that Waymo has 10 billion miles in simulated driving. And I don't think he gave a number of Tesla, but to me, you can't compare Tesla's real world 14 billion against Waymo's simulated 10 billion, because to me that's not real world. I mean, they're not, getting something that's new where a ball runs across the street or something, really happening versus, or some construction all of a sudden, where to me I don't think Waymo can really truly, compare. But anyway, then he also talked a lot about this, the president in February 2019 signed the American AI Initiative. So I think that's awesome. And it was talking about one of the key bullets was that it's in a manner consistent with our nation's values, policies, and priorities. So my only concern there is, where we, as you all know, around AI, are strongly competing against China. And the difference there is where we have to follow our values, policies, and priorities. And of course, obviously the Chinese are a lot of great people, but on their government, where they are, leveraging AI, where they don't even have coins, I believe, or cash, everything or everything on the phone. Everything is through facial recognition. So if you're in China, you can literally walk into a store. It already captures your face, knows who you are already, and you can grab some items and literally walk out of the store, and it already charged your account, and you don't even have to swipe a card or swipe a phone or nothing, or pay cash, whatever. So it's pretty amazing. So because China government is allowing a lot of that stuff where our values in many cases either wouldn't, or we might not have laws demanding that. So that's why I'm concerned that the Chinese will get ahead. There's a lot of similar things to that, so very, very something to be aware of. All right, then again, so now there was a lot of predictions in AI. This was quite a bit, and I'll just kind of scroll through a lot of these. This was a great site with five really key areas there. This article talked about how different AI capabilities. They referenced a Gartner study, which again, where I'm in my regular job in IT marketing. I use Gartner a lot, IDC, a lot of the others, so I talk a lot about this. So in fact, actually doing this research for this channel is actually, believe it or not, going to help me with my regular job and a lot of good information. Gartner on their Magic Quadrant talked a lot about a lot of the different capabilities and which were the leaders, and you have some listed here. But he talked about in particular that 2020 and beyond has a lot of AI automation companies will start taking the human experience more seriously. So that right there is huge. There's a lot of these that I've read recently that they said that a lot of 2019 and 18 there was a lot of hopes that a lot of these kind of things would happen, but now he's really saying that this is really gonna happen, and a couple of them around disintermediation and hyper-personalization. So those are two key areas that he talked about here. So here's actually that Gartner study, and here's the Magic Quadrant that they're talking about. So ThoughtSpot was here. So they had 4 of the leaders, and the way they always do these leaders challenges, niche players and visionaries. So all of them are winners. I mean, if you're on here, you're still a winner. And while these might be niche players, for example, I know this well, IBM is seen as a niche player because with Watson and the other technologies they're doing, they're really focused on mostly their own customers using their own capability. I think I forgot. So that might be seen as a niche player, but there's still a lot of these that are all still pretty strong if they're listed here. So, but there's a lot of really good information in here, strengths, weaknesses, so the SWOT analysis that summarize some of these, and then at the very, very bottom, huge study, they'll sort of give something of a executive summary or a sort of analysis there. So a lot of great information there as well. And more trends, AI interface, a lot of automation. I see that in the workforce with a lot of automation that's been going on for quite a while. Another article on top 10 technology trends. Again, a lot of these are talking about the same: hyper automation, end user experience or user experience, democratization. Here's a good piece. Talking about developed a wide variety of human augmentation. So we all know a lot of that, robotic capabilities, power in the edge. So there's quite a bit in here, a lot of really good info too. All right, and actually, so Ale over here for Ale's World of Stocks, he did a great job summarizing. I think he talked about 4 in particular. I'm not going to ruin it for him. You're all very, very familiar with these 4. So it kind of he did a good job. He opened my eyes a little bit. Some of these I was kind of now 2 in particular from my real job. I work with them very, very closely, and I see those capabilities. But he actually articulated a little bit broader capabilities and did some analysis as well. So he did a great job there. Highly recommend you watch. Now again, that actually was a little bit older, back in October, but it's still very, very, very valid. All right, so let's get into a little crypto, and I'm sure I missed a lot of what I wanted to talk about. So Modern Investor, he's got quite a bit here, and again, a lot going on. This is kind of, they're saying this is the year of breakout in 2017 November, when Bitcoin hit about 20,000 and it settled back, was low as around 3,000, I think 6 or 8 months ago. Been hovering around 7. But literally in the past week, yesterday I believe it was, it hit 91.50 or somewhere, 56, somewhere around there. It's pulled back, I think, around 8,600 right now. There's a lot of good information out there. A lot of these guys doing a lot of really good charting, and a lot of the charting, they're talking about the different trends and everything. So great information. I referenced some of them last week or the last time. But this one here, they're talking about 200,000. Some are talking about Bitcoin hitting 1 million. But a lot of them talking about hitting 10, 20,000 over the next month or 3. And a lot of that is around Bitcoin halving. And let's see, I think this next one referenced, the Bitcoin halving in the next couple months. So that's a big thing where, all right, so one of these I'll talk about where they're saying the market still hasn't absorbed all of that yet. So, all right, this one I want to get into a little bit here because he's been doing a great job here, sort of helping out with the cryptocurrency or digital asset, the whole industry as a whole. First, I like that he talks a lot about, I think he says something about when the high tide comes into the harbor, all the boats rise or something like that. Great analogy. But what he's saying there is there's a lot of fighting going on with this cryptocurrency expert. Talks bad about that cryptocurrency, or I should say altcoin expert. And so what he's trying to say is, hey, everybody, we're all in this together. We're all hoping that, all or some or most will really kill it in the next coming months to years. So I like that he says that hey, let's all just kind of, help each other out and get along instead of fighting. Another great thing he's doing here, as this screenshot part shows here, is there's a lot of scammers out there. And what he's doing is showing how these guys are doing these scams where some of them are actually taking over some existing websites that might have, it doesn't show this in the bottom of the screen, or maybe up top here. They might be an existing YouTuber for something totally different, and they might have 2, 3, 500,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers or whatever, and these guys are hacking into them, stealing their site, blocking the owner, getting rid of all the old videos and redoing everything, and then they're taking some videos of the whether it be the Ripple president or doing an interview or somebody, and then they're showing a lot of this information where, hey, give us basically 1 penny of Bitcoin and we'll give you 5 cents worth, or $1 or $2, whatever. So bottom line, he's saying they're trying to give something for free, which obviously is a scam. And then at the bottom, if you scroll down at this page, he's showing that they always don't have any ability to leave any notes, any comments, because then of course people will say this is a scam. So then he has a nice spreadsheet on his channel, and he does it every video now. And even, for example, he did a little questionnaire, I think it was yesterday. He's asking, hey, do you want me to do these in the beginning, the middle, the end, or not at all, whatever. And many of us, I think 52% of us said to do it at the beginning. So what he's doing is he's going to run to his quick website. The site that has a spreadsheet where before the video, he goes in, he does some research, he just searches for that very thing, Ethereum live stream, and that seems to be the most common. And then he'll find a bunch of these scams. And so he'll find them ahead of time, put them in a spreadsheet. When he gets to the video, clicks on the link, gets to this, shows the scam, then shows how to, thumbs down it, and then how to report it. And what he's saying is, if we can all do this same thing, take the 2 minutes to do this very thing, do this search, or maybe just have a Google search, a YouTube search going on, page open all the time, and once a day do that same search. And if we can all report it, and then he's saying if you go into that spreadsheet that he has, first to grab the link and then leave I think he said leave a comment or whatever. But bottom line, if we can all do this and all help this industry, a lot of people are getting scammed, some smart people, some people that are new to this. And what he's saying is, we can all get scammed very easily. Even he said sometimes he's a little unsure, but when he does this and looks and sees these scam, then he can see it's pretty easy. So if we can all help each other, he's doing a great job there. And then of course he always has a lot of great information on his videos as well. But I definitely wanted to highlight those. All right, XRP analyst. Obviously, he's Moon Lambo. I mean, he's obviously focused on XRP. At the very beginning of this, he's saying right with that very quote, "We're about to be filthy rich," and obviously gets into it. So he's always doing a lot of great analysis. So recommend you watch that one. Same here, Altcoin Daily. He's always got great information. Again, a lot of videos out there about how it's everything on cryptocurrency is about to explode. A lot of these guys. I meant to grab one video on one of the guys who does amazing analysis. I'll definitely the next time capture it. Let's see if I can find it in any of this here. I don't see him real quick. But anyway, so a lot of great information. But this one here, he has the top 6 here, VeChain, some of the others. So I highly recommend you watch that and maybe some of these others. And here's the one we're talking about Bitcoin halving. He's saying the price, it's not really priced in yet, meaning he feels that as we get closer to the date, which I think is May or June, I forgot exactly, that maybe he says here now, that he's talking about how, the price is still going to go up for that and many other reasons too. There's a lot going on with Ripple, with some fundings and a lot of things they're doing with the different governments around the world, including ours, with Ripple and with their XRP, and just all the others. You just saw this one here with VeChain. They're talking about doing some great information around with Walmart in China, where they're going to take an RFID and attach it to all these products that Walmart sells or manufactures through China and sends around the world. And then they're going to be attached to VeChain, which then now has the ability to track that every step of the way. So that way now a lot of the brand name products are not being, what's the silly word, copied, for lack of a better word. And therefore, those companies losing profits. So this is a great, again, all the different altcoins have great stories, but these are talking about some of the different reasons and why some of these in particular. All right, and so there was a summary I wanted to say. Let's get going. All right, so bottom line, lots happening just in these last few weeks. Massive amount of stuff going on going forward. If you like this material I'm providing, again, just going to try to do this summary, try to give 5, 10, 15 minutes worth of quick summary information. I watch a lot of this. I read a lot. I figure if I can share this, the work I'm doing, and that way others who are interested can find this information, get a quick summary, and then again, click on the links that I provide to get more in-depth of these information, which I highly recommend, which I highly recommend you watch all, if not most of all of these. So again, like if you would, subscribe and share, help out the channel, help spread the word to help share this information all around, mostly Tesla capabilities, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. All right, thanks for your time.